Clavicular is what Nietzsche warned us about. Friedrich Nietzsche was a 19th century German philosopher who had a chilling warning about the future. If you gaze long enough into the abyss also gazes into you. Some people see Clavicular or Braden Peters as a self-help creator or an influencer to help you increase your looks. Other people see him as entertainment, but I see something much darker. I see the exact cultural sickness that Friedrich Nietzsche diagnosed over 100 years ago, fully optimized for the internet age. I see Nietzsche's worst fear, living, breathing, and streaming, contaminating the youth and future generations.
Is he dead? Okay.
Friedrich Nietzsche famously said, God is dead. And a lot of people misinterpret what he meant by that. He wasn't making a religious argument. He was giving a warning. You see, for much of human history, people believed that their lives pointed to something higher. God, truth, virtue, being a good person, something that was beyond themselves. And that higher meaning, it gave life direction. It made people share with others when they had little. It made people forgive each other when they wanted to seek revenge. It made people restrain themselves when anger would have felt better. It made sacrifice and living unselfishly make sense. But Friedrich Nietzsche believed that in modern times, people stopped believing in that higher source. And when the reason to believe in something higher fades, so does the reason to act beyond yourself. This is the birth of nihilism.
Okay, I do agree, because we do philosophy through pop culture here. I do agree that clavicular is nihilism repackaged through capitalism. Okay, I want to show you. I want to hop around a bit. Cole Hastings, he makes video essays. He does a pretty good job, kind of eccentricity kind of boy. And he made this video recently. We're not going to watch it. I'm just going to show you some of the parts about why Gen Z abandoned morals for money, right?
I went to see Catch Me If You Can with my parents. If you aren't familiar with it, it follows a teenager named Frank Abagnale, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who becomes one of the most successful bank fraudsters in US history. However, that is not the part of the movie that I found particularly fascinating when I suddenly gained consciousness a few years later. What really intrigued me was how this character could convince so many people to do whatever he wanted through sheer confidence alone. He faked being an airline pilot, a doctor, and a lawyer to such a believable degree that he was instantly offered jobs and money wherever he went. Frank hadn't even finished high school, and he probably wasn't the smartest guy ever, and yet his incredible sense of self-agency allowed him to become more powerful than anyone his age. We hear stories of fraudsters and
Pause. I think the reason Leo does such a good job playing a fraudster is because he's handsome. Wolf of Wall Street, Catch Me If You Can, Clavicular is that manifested in modern day. Clavicular is the handsome, sort of branded person who basically is bullshit, but because he is adhering to some sort of beauty standard and expectation of goal, people will eat it up. I had a brother who was like obsessed with like Wolf of Wall Street and, oh my God, I love this guy. He's like a real guy, man. He's so cool. I was like, he frauded a bunch of people and was like incredibly abusive and cheated on his wife. He's like a bad person. And my brother was like, nah, bro, he's cool. Then all the boy remember when the real guy was being interviewed on all the boy podcasts, and now Clavicular is on every fucking podcast. Okay. And trust me when I say this, I don't trust any podcast that talks to Clavicular, because that's what you're doing. You're platforming a scammer. Now, I think Clavicular, though, or just the part of him that I think is organic and real, stay with me here, is he is a boy. He's a teenager. He's a young kid. Okay, I think he just turned 20 or 21. It's debated on the internet. Some people, he was caught on camera saying his age was 20. And then some people said, didn't he just celebrate his 21st birthday? So there's a little bit of a lie going around. I don't know what the truth is, but he's a kid. You can see it in his face. All those people who say he looks older, I think you guys have forgotten what a kid looks like. He looks like a kid, okay? But with that said, if you look at him, I think there is some part of him that must really believe that this is true, because look, it's working for him. He did the thing. He proved society was bullshit. He took the nihilistic road of saying nothing matters and you're never going to get anywhere, kind of black-pilled, unless you're beautiful or something else. So he did it. He made himself beautiful, and look what he was rewarded with: fame, women, money, status. Look how he proved society correct. So now he will be reinforced in the belief that none of this matters. Life is useless. There's no real goals in life except being attractive, right? So then this happened, okay? Very controversial. He was with when he was 19, he was dating a 17-year-old, which he goes, it's okay, guys, we're 2 years apart. Again, it's a very specific bubble. And he is on stream dissolving, quote, fat from her face. He is sticking needles in this girl's face.
Those were lipolysis. Yeah, those were lipolysis agents, so called Aqualux, right? It's a fat dissolver, and we were like doing localized lipolysis, essentially. Why? Because we're going for more facial leanness, killing fat cells. Yeah.
Right? So a doctor actually, you probably know him. He makes like videos on facial reconstruction surgery or stuff like that, like surgery videos. He made this video.
This is pretty crazy. I mean, Clavicular has done a lot of questionable things, but I think this is up there as one of the most concerning. He's essentially injecting what looks like maybe some filler into this girl's cheeks, and I don't think that he's doing it very cleanly. I mean, first of all, he's not wearing any gloves. I highly doubt that he disinfected her face.
So Clavicular says it's not filler, it's fat dissolver. I don't know the difference. Sounds different, but I don't know the difference.
Prior to these injections, and who knows what he's even injecting here. Where did he get these supplies? What are his landmarks here? Does he know where the main blood vessels are that he could potentially hit and cause different problems for her, like necrosis of the skin, different types of other problems like infection and nodule formation, and maybe even blindness? And does he know how to reverse the effects of some of these complications with something like hyaluronidase? Does he have that available at his disposal? Regardless, he is not licensed to do these types of injections, and doing them on a live stream or however he's doing them here should be considered, highly illegal.
So there's blood on her face. Looks like there's a blood stain on the bed.
And something that I think should not be condoned. I've spoken out in the past against the DIY community when it comes to filler and even both.
This reminds me of BBLs done illegally. Guys, stop getting your BBLs done. Stop getting your facial stuff. Stop. Nothing is worth it. There's almost no amount of medical care that could ever be done better on the black market than saving up and going through a real doctor.
Talks and other things like threads and whatever else people are doing to themselves. But this is something that is highly dangerous if done incorrectly and really probably should not even be on the internet. Yeah, this
definitely not on the internet. Look who it's influencing. Here's this video. Okay. This is that comedian guy that's annoying as well.
17-year-old girl's face with fat dissolver.
Well, because they don't realize how low the risk profile is for doing something like an Aqualux, right? This can't cause any vascular occlusion. So the worst that really could happen if you were to do something like nick a vein is just slight bruising. Like it's extremely safe to do Aqualux.
Yeah, but by that argument, couldn't you also just do it to like a 10-year-old and the same effect would still apply?
Well, someone who's 10 years old is going to have their facial fat redistribute a lot of times and go through a lot of lipogenesis throughout their years.
Couldn't you say the same about a 17-year-old? Maybe not as much as a 10-year-old, but...
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's a little bit early in life to be doing certain things like that, but...
Because he knows some words that other people don't know. People think he's smart. He knows what he's talking about.
So maybe don't do it in the future?
Well, the risk profile is so low where it's not really that big of a deal. I just wouldn't want to personally go through all the swelling phase from the Aqualux, the oil sitting in your cheeks, similar to this guy right here, just for the lipogenesis to occur once again.
So you were trying to make your girlfriend look like this guy?
Not my girlfriend, but
or whoever it was, that girl that you were with, you wanted her to look like him? That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a pretty good looking guy. And you said...
Okay, so then here's the girl.
Like chopped shit because... So right now I'm like chopped shit because of the Aqualix. My face is just so fat and bloated right now. This one it went through my cheek a little bit. Not gonna lie, but
She said it went through my cheek a little bit, not gonna lie. So does that mean he stuck a needle in her cheek and went straight through the other side? Is that what she's saying?
I mean, it's chill. But just some updates. It hurts a little bit, but it's healed perfectly. No lumps, no bumps. So go to just update chat. And that's also why my cheeks are fat as fuck, is because there's Aqualix. So there's an oil and it's dissolving the fat in my cheeks. So hopefully, I don't know how long it'll take, like 2 weeks was said, and maybe it'll really show off my bone structure even more. So right now.
So again, right? Chester Clavicular always seems nervous. Well, he's a kid, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's kids pretending to be adults. This is a problem. And the worst part, and this is why I'm very critical of people who platform him, adults keep interviewing him on podcasts. Grown men in their 30s and 40s keep platforming this man, this boy. And then he is being, again, he's being reinforced by society to see the value in his work because you keep giving him a microphone. Okay? You keep validating him.
Yeah. All natural, and I'm 17.
All natural. Whoa. I'll leak.
No, she's 21.
I'll leak. Get in the car right now. Or I'm done. I'm on stream. W17, bro. Bro, 17 is fine, dude. Get out of here, buddy. I'm 19. It's 2 years difference. She's turning fucking. She's gonna be 1 year, bro. Relax.
You know what I'm saying? It's a very specific type of bubble, but he's being reinforced. And this is why I say, like, men and boys are, the eating disorders are up, body dysmorphia is up. Like, this is the new generation. And that's why I'm saying it's not good. The fact that people are like, girls have been doing it forever, it's not good for them either. It's not good for any of us to be obsessed with every spot in our body. It is not good for us to keep seeing this as a deep and direct representation of who we are as a person. It is not good for us to be obsessed with bone structure. It is not good for us. It's okay to want the inside to match the outside. It's okay for the right reasons to get surgery. It's okay to do a lot of things, but this obsession is crazy. So now it's funny because one time on my Discord, was it Discord, guys? I was mentioning phenotypes, or was it stream? And somebody was like, oh my God, I've only heard that word be used in like alt-right bubbles and anti-trans bubbles or something like that. And I remember thinking like, oh, I get it from this channel. The Quavos channel, or Quoves, or however you say it, right? Oops, we've already gone over that. The Quoves people, they offer you, Chad said it's a science word, but okay. But people associate it, I guess, with the clavicular and kind of bubble because they have this obsession. I'm saying it is okay to want to improve your aesthetics, but not to appeal to the masses, but to make the inside match the outside. So let's look at this really fast because I want to show you. So Quoves offers a thing that even I thought about doing for funsies. I think it would be kind of cool to do it because let me just tell you, after watching this girl's video, it just reinforced in me so significantly how it's a hit or miss. Like getting a nose job. A nose job can either improve the way you feel and make you feel amazing, or it's never going to satisfy you. And you just, a lot of the time you don't know which one it's going to be, but you can know, which is why I never got a nose job. Just a reminder, you will never shame me for even thinking about getting a nose job. But the reason I will never do it, most likely, I say never because, you know, it's just set in stone for me in my head, is because I do not think it would make me look better. All those people that are like, it would make you look better, I think they're wrong. And you would have to have such a perfect surgeon. I don't think you understand how unique my nose is. I have a very unique nose that to make it look much different, you would need a very good surgeon, okay? And I don't think they exist. But look at this. This is an example. She paid $160 to Looksmaxx, basically, because that's what this offers you from Quoves. Here it is.
$160 to find out what I'd look like at
Oh, why is the volume so low? Hold on. Let me get the volume up a little bit.
my maximum attractiveness. So this is my normal self, which they said was 49 out of 100. And then this is my after image. They said would be much closer to my most aesthetic self.
Okay, pause. Look at that again.
So this is my normal self, which
So this is her normal self. Okay, right away, I can definitely see like certain things that I'm like, okay, there's like some asymmetry, right? Like symmetry, desires from people, whatever.
they said was 49 out of 100. And then this is my after image.
So this is the after image, and there's a lot more symmetry, okay? It is not more different. Actually, you know what is the most difference? Her video. She is so much prettier in motion. I think I'm much prettier in motion. I think I am beautiful in movement. I think when people see me in real life, they're always like, oh my God, you're so much prettier. And I was like, yeah, because I look good when I move. I photo bad. I don't photo as good, even though I think I do a lot of really good photos, right? I think I take a lot of really good photos. She is so beautiful in motion.
They said would be much closer to my most aesthetic self. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the after, but every time I've seen other people's afters, I'm like, oh yeah, that's more attractive. So I think it just takes getting used to. They have a lot of...
I think her after isn't significant enough to do it. I just don't think the after was enough. I think if she wanted more extreme, like maybe, because I noticed they didn't do much of a nose job or anything else. Like, look at it.
Which they said was...
So she has some like, you know, asymmetry in her eyes and her mouth. You can tell There's different sides of her face are different, which, you know, is impacted by the way you sleep. It's impacted by so many things, right?
It's 49 out of 100. And then this is my after image.
And then everything's a little bit more symmetrical. Her chin is the pointer at the bottom. Her nose actually didn't get a significant change. So I actually think she could accomplish this pretty easy, but also it's not necessary because it's not that much of a change.
They said would be.
I think it's like getting a hairdo. One of the best, most fun parts of getting your hair done is it looking significantly different and amazing. When you go to the hairstylist, you're like, oh my God, I'm getting my hair done, but it looks the same. No one's going to be like, oh, yay. The fun part is the idea that it looks completely different, but you rock it, right? Like that's kind of the fun part of the change.
Be much closer to my most aesthetic self. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the after, but every time I've seen other people's afters, I'm like, oh yeah, that's more attractive. So I think it just takes getting used to. They have a lot of recommendations. They recommended filler in my top lip, filler in my chin, a collarbone mid-length haircut, eyebrow threading, lash lift, and a few pretty chill facial.
You don't not the worst things, like pretty easy changes
and things like that.
Well, easy is relative, but
so I'm probably going to implement some of this now that I know it. So follow for the results.
Okay, let's see if she did the results. I don't think she did. I think this is to maybe see.
Hey, my name's Kara. I'm an.
Okay, no.
Everyone's saying that I paid.
Oh, hold on. I want to watch that. Wait, where was that? This one.
I paid. Hey, my name's Kara.
No.
I went
This one.
to everyone saying that I paid $160 for an AI prompt, sort of. But here's why I don't care. I could ask ChatGPT something and 30 minutes later ask the same question and it would give me a different response. So I'm not huge on trusting it. Whereas the Coves thing has a whole team that is dependent on making their clients happy. Additionally, every time I've seen a before and after from Coves or Coves, I've agreed with the results. The only time I've been like, is looking at my own, which tells me that that's probably just a bias. So because I already had trust by seeing other people's, I could measure my feelings against that. I'm gonna buy the surgery report and the hairstyle report just to see what they say. Follow so you don't miss out. To every
Yeah, I think like people are, I do agree with her. I think it is very different than asking AI to help you because it is a team of people putting it together. But I also think it would be different than asking Clavicular, which is giving you his opinion based off of like a specific standard he's reaching for that most of us wouldn't even feel comfortable reaching even if we did. I think that's another part of this that I think is so interesting because even though I think I know exactly the aesthetic these young people are going for, and I can see it in the way that like even the girl looks at a young age. It's so cute, but it's not my style. It's not like me. So it wouldn't make sense for me to want to look like them because like when I look at them, I can see that they're cute, but like it's not my style. And I think this goes back to nobody would really be goth if they didn't have to be. Goth is goth, girl. Like, not everybody wants to look preppy. Not everybody wants to look the same way. And I think this narrative that, oh, everybody would want to look this way if they could, is the problem with the philosophy of Clavicular. His philosophical framework is, of course you want to look the best. Of course you want to look this way. But that's like saying, of course everybody wants to eat apple pie. What about blackberry pie? What about blueberry pie? What about cherry pie? What about, it's like, I hear you. I agree we all want pie. I just disagree that we all want the same pie. And what if I want apple pie, but I also want blueberry pie? It's just that's the issue with the thinking. The issue with the same thinking everybody has is that everybody wants the same relationship. Now, okay, what is the ethical and immoral consequences of these thought processes? Okay, so sometimes people will come up to me and say, for somebody who says you believe in nuance and in gray, you're really judgmental of other people's relationships. I tend to be judgmental of what I think is abusive relationships. If I think there is abuse, I'm going to judge. Okay, I'm going to throw out my discernment and hope that I've come to a good conclusion. If I do not see abuse, then my judgment is more of a preference judgment, but it is like ideally you would not be in this situation, but it is what it is, right? I can view a MAGA conservative relationship and say it's not abusive and also hope that you kind of like maybe graduate as a couple past this mindset or this belief system or this philosophy. But I also can tell that you're not in an abusive relationship. I can see a relationship that says it's liberal or progressive and be like, hey, I think this is abusive, but you're on the right track. Like head more into that philosophical journey because like if you are progressive, then why are you doing these things? Right? So it is like a a big part of Clavicular's thing is like, he's not wrong for encouraging plastic surgery. He's not wrong for wanting to be in shape. He's not wrong. But I think he is wrong that his philosophical conclusion, his practical conclusion is everybody wants to look like X, or everybody should want to look like X, right? I agree when he talked to Andrew Callahan, who we don't like. Okay. And let me see if I can pull it up really fast. And he asked Andrew Callahan, like, what's something about you you'd want to change? And Andrew Callahan said nothing. And then they ended the conversation. It's because I do think it was a dishonest answer from Andrew, and I'll tell you why.
You see what I mean?
You're
It's
telling
like,
me what
you're trying
I'm
to get
telling
me
you
to-
what to ask. So when you wake up every single morning and you take a look in the mirror, you're 100% satisfied with every single thing. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, dude. All right. Well, I guess that's just, if you want to be completely disingenuous, that's fine with me. I guess there's just no point to continue.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, now the reason I think this is like a dishonest answer is because I think honest people who answer honestly can also explain their reasoning, right? Like, there is something to be said, like if Clavicular was like, okay, Brittany, what's the thing you'd want to change? I'm like, my teeth. He's like, do you want to change your nose? I was like, no. And he would doubt it. Most people do. They're like, no, you'd want to change your nose. And I was like, I would only change my nose if I guaranteed a positive outcome. But otherwise, my teeth. My teeth, I can guarantee a positive outcome. I'll be happy with the result, and it's an easy fix. Teeth. And that's easy. I will 100%. Okay? The inside matches the outside. That's how I always think about it. But that, I feel like, would be an honest answer. Versus Andrew goes, oh yeah, there's nothing about me I would change. And I'm like, okay, bro, nothing? Explain your answer. Because that could be true, but I highly doubt it is true because Andrew also suffers from, I've noticed in his videos when I've watched them on occasion with you guys, is he has like really extreme acne, which I also know is prone to usually hurting. So I can't imagine that Andrew is excited when he wakes up and he's got 20 cystic acnes or huge pimples on his face and he's like, yeah, there's nothing I would change. I'm pretty sure it would be a pretty easy answer to say, oh yeah, I'd love it if I didn't have as many pimples. Because pimples suck, they hurt, they literally are painful experiences. And it feels like that would have been such an easy answer to give Clavicular. But when he didn't even give that answer, then I would have to ask, like, do you like being in pain? Do you like the way it feels? Do you like when they explode in your face? Do you like having pimples? Like, you know, I'm not saying you're bad for having pimples, but do you also like having pimples? Like, that would be interesting to me, right? Like, oh, like, it just seems funny. Now, it also seems realistic that you might want to say, oh, I don't need to change my face because you want to be judged for having pimples. I also understand that perspective of getting defensive because people moralize pimples. They do that. Do you know that? Pause. I'm about to teach you something new if you don't know this. You know there are bubbles that think you're a bad person if you have pimples? Bet you didn't know that unless you grew up in that kind of a bubble. There are people who think it's like a neglect thing. Oh, you're not taking care of your skin. Oh, you're neglecting yourself. Oh, you're so like you're yes, lazy and unclean. Exactly. Oh, like this is a reflection of your, and that's why people have to say it's not my choice. Like the doctors can't do anything about it. They have to justify it with like, this isn't my choice. I didn't choose this, you know? So like, yeah, there is a whole bubble that judges you for having pimples. So I can understand why you might get defensive and say, no, I don't care that I have pimples. But that's why I tell you, when you sit with yourself and meditate about who I really want to be in the story, you've got to shut out all of the voices. You have to shut out every voice, just your own. Seriously though, what do you want, bro? Yeah, to be honest, bro, if I wasn't going to get judged for it, I'd like to get a boob job. Yeah, bro, if I wasn't going to judge for it, honestly, like I'd probably cut my hair. Yeah, if I'm going to be honest, if I wasn't going to be judged for it, I'd probably like ride my bicycle instead of having a car to go to work. Yeah, if I wasn't, okay, you need to sit with yourself and you need to meditate. You need to really be honest with yourself. Look, no one's going to hear you. Habibi, I can't hear you. No one will hear you. Just you. But see, isn't that the scariest person to say it to? Sometimes the scariest person to admit what we want is to ourselves. Because if we don't admit it to ourselves, then maybe it's not real. So sit with yourself and be honest. Nobody can hear you. What would you really want? And don't say it when you're stressed. Listen to me. The reason you meditate is because the answer will not be real unless you're calm. The answer won't be true unless you're sober. The answer won't be true unless you're well slept. If you are tired or stressed, you will answer incorrectly. You will give the answer that the stress is giving. Okay? So you need to make sure you are meditating, you're in a good place, you're well fed, you're in a nice, comfortable position. Okay? You can sit cross-legged on the floor, take a deep breath, and really just start playing with some thoughts. Right? Okay? Chet says meditate after eating. Meditate 30 minutes after eating. Because if you're like me, I can't do anything after eating. I'm in a food coma. I feel sick. I don't want to do anything. Okay? So like meditate 30 minutes after eating, like swimming. Right? Make sure you're honest with yourself and then see what that means. Don't stop at that answer either. Deconstruct the answer, pull it apart, look at it in details, right? I don't think Clavicular is evil. I think he's worse than this. He's a nihilist. Clavicular is a nihilist who is weaponizing his insecurities, being reinforced by society's expectation and behavior towards him. And now he is taking himself and others down a completely bad path. His highest sense of meaning is looksmaxxing. His highest sense of meaning is external validation. He is philosophically so nihilistically in the gutter. I am not shocked that people are now making videos about exactly that, like this one here that we started with at the beginning.
Nihilism is the belief that life has no higher meaning or purpose. Nietzsche warned that if there is nothing higher to aim at, then where does our energy go? He feared that instead of rising to create deep new inner values, people would turn inward. He feared that the self would become the new focus, the new project, the new thing to perfect. And with Clavicular, we can see this clearly. When there is no shared sense of purpose, when we are not striving to become better internally, we strive to become better externally. Looksmaxxing or obsessively optimizing your image or status replaces the harder work of transcending yourself, of trying to become a better person. It begins to look like a kind of self-worship, building and polishing the image of the self as if it were something sacred, as if it were a god.
Where do you rank male beauty in like the kind of scale of what's important?
The people say they like this guy, but I don't trust him. I feel like he interviews all the worst people on the internet and gives them a platform. And I feel like I don't like him. I don't know his name. I forget it. But I saw this interview and I was like annoyed with him because people who are more liberally were like, "Oh my God, this guy's so great. Why is he interviewing a 19-year-old? Why is he talking to Clavicular?"
Like
The highest.
like higher than like kindness or something.
Yeah.
Instead of asking how to grow in character, how to grow in depth, how to grow in truth, the focus shifts on how to look better, how to gain more followers, how to achieve more status, how to mog more people. And when meaning collapses, when nihilism grows, anyone or anything that stands in the way of the self can feel unimportant. This is
Exactly. And that's the point of philosophy. People always say, "Brittany, why do you love philosophy so much?" I think it really is not only the love of wisdom, but it is truly in so many ways, it is the answer we're looking for. We're in a meaning crisis. We don't know what the purpose of his existence is. Like, surely the purpose of existence can't be making money. Like, surely it can't be having sex. Like, surely I was not put on this earth to simply fuck. Like, certainly I was not put on this earth to simply looksmax. In a world where our bodies are deteriorating and die, in a world where our bodies naturally start to sag and get fat, in a world where our bodies naturally start to deteriorate and collapse on us, like, certainly this is not the meaning of our life, right? Now, certainly you could say, well, there is no inherent meaning to the universe, which I would also agree to, but I would also say, you know, that meaning is in crisis because it might not be inherent. And yet we can obviously see the value. Like, no one could ever replace Clavicular because he's a real person, okay? Like, he is a real person. He has a real family. He came to be in a real way. He was a little boy at some time. At one point, this was someone's little baby child. And this is who he grew up to be. And he didn't just fall out of a coconut tree or zap into existence. He really is a product of his environment and his nihilistic perspective. His lack of meaning brought about a sense of meaning that was hollow and empty. But like I said, because he's being rewarded by society, he's being rewarded socially, and in many ways, it will feel like meaning. It will feel like purpose. But certainly he was not put on the planet, hopefully, to mog, to looksmax, to hit himself in the face with a hammer. I certainly hope this is not his, and nobody should look at him and think this truly is the purpose. I hope it's a phase. I hope he grows out of it. But I hope more than anything, the adults in the room stop inviting this child onto their podcast and stop platforming these people who are obviously just trying to go viral. Now, again, you might say, well, why are you covering him? Don't you think that's just as bad? Not really. I really think it's far worse to literally interview him. I think it is far worse to chase clout. I think it is far worse for society because you have to understand his audience will get the validation from you interviewing him. Just like my audience would get an incredible validation if I was interviewed by somebody they thought was cool or important. Because whether we like it or not, we are social creatures. And that's what Clavicular is trying to prove as well. He's trying to prove this basic biological reality that we are social creatures is somehow profound. It's not, Habibi. What's more profound is that we introspect, deconstruct, and have a deeper relationship with our biological experience so we can recognize, right, that validation is important, but it has to be done healthy. And if it's not done healthy, you will get a Trisha Paytas. You will get a Clavicular. You will get the people who in real life streams go and harass and prank people just to get famous. And now they're in prison serving time or they have served time, right? We want people to not just be famous and not just be rich, but hopefully get there for the right reasons. And the question is, can you even do that? In a world where there's no such thing as an ethical billionaire, right? On the Louis Theroux documentary, the UK gentleman said, you know, I would never have been this famous if I was a good person. And that's all you need to know about this world. That's all you need to know about anything. Can you truly be a good person and can you be popular? Can you be a popular person and be a good person? Is that stereotype that the worst people are the popular cheerleaders and football players in school? Is that true? Or is it just a reflection of something bigger? Is adulthood just high school with money? Certainly feels like it. Obviously, like the movie Mean Girls shows you, anyone can be a mean girl. Okay, gays, goths, whatever. But even more than that, there's obviously something to be said about the toxic ways we're seeking validation. And that is where philosophy can give you an answer that pop culture cannot give you, that celebrity status cannot give you, that validation seeking can't give you. Because, and goes back to eradicating the ego, if you're constantly seeking validation that's external, then you're ignoring the internal validation is valid enough. It really is enough that you love yourself. But the loving yourself has to be healthy. You can't toxically love yourself and say, I'm perfect and I never make mistakes and I don't have to change anything. Even if I make everyone's life miserable, I'm happy. Are you? Are you joyful? Are you good? Okay. That's the big part of it. It's a lot of work. I know for a fact it is much easier to be clavicular and hit yourself in the face with a hammer than it is to sit down and meditate and ask yourself tougher questions. And so, like all of us, we will take the easiest path. And this is Clavicular's easier path. It is easier for him to hit his face with a hammer and inject girls on stream with whatever he was injecting them with, okay, than to actually sit with himself and say, what would truly make you a joyful person? If you weren't busy chasing insecurities, who could you be? Okay? This is insecurity. This is toxic insecurity. Just like NPD is an insecurity, right? No, people with NPD are suffering children. They hate themselves. That's why it's sad. Trump hates himself. You must know this. It's really devastating. You know what I'm saying? This is why I talked about toxic shyness the other day. Anything that is a part of us can be toxic if we do not get or have a balanced relationship with it. Dominance, aggressiveness, it can be toxic if you do not have balance. Money can be toxic if you do not have balance. Okay? So all of these things are obviously the extremes, which is why they're popular, because we want to watch the freak show. We think the extreme is interesting. But this is why I say, is there a way to be famous and ethical? Is there a way to be rich and ethical if everything you have to do to become or get people's attention to become famous is bad? And then that begs the question, why doesn't humanity on a whole, like as a whole, want good things? The world is a reflection of us as a whole. So every time you sit and look at the world and think, it's just MAGA, it's everybody. The world could not be this way if a majority of people didn't engage this way. It's all of us at different places in our life, myself included. I look at my past self and I say, oh, there she is contributing to the harm of the world. I'm going to do it today and tomorrow and the next day too. That's why I say be less bad every day. Because if you're so busy trying to be good every day, you will fall for this as goodness. You will say to yourself, oh yes, this is goodness. He's helping this girl. He's giving her a leg up. He's helping her become a better person. Look at this. He's really, honestly, he's saving her, bro. Honestly, he's saving these young boys, bro. Look at all the good he's doing. I would say I would be more interested in all the bad you're doing. If you do less bad every day, then the result left over will be all the good. And if there is some good to take from Clavicular, may that be the only part that shines. But see how all of the bad also is shining? And it is primarily why he's becoming popular. Because if all he had to offer was good, then nobody would bring him on the podcast to say, tell us about this weird thing you're doing that seems inherently toxic and dangerous. And there it is. That's your answer. So when you say, Brittany, how do you know the answer? That's the answer. That's how you know the answer. You look at the data, and the data is showing that this cannot be the answer. Okay? This cannot be the answer. It can't be. This cannot be the answer because the results are way too negative. Capitalism cannot be the answer. The results are too negative. Patriarchy can't be the answer. The results are too negative. Racism, homophobia, transphobia, it's not working. It's not working. So why do we keep doing it? That's the question for all of us. See how Clavicular, it's not about him, it's about us. Clavicular is a product of us. He's a product of society. He really is the kid in the story. And we're holding him to more responsibility than the adults who keep platforming him and showing him off and using him to make money. He is the kid in the story. You know?